everyone. It's been a while since I ever talked about the SML vs SMG4 series, but now I'm back and with my voice again. Ever since I talk about the rise and falls of SML, this does really gives me the thinking about how much do I really not enjoy SML today. But for one channel that I do enjoy the most in SML is SMG4. And desire that SMG4 is much more different and much more different quality than SML, I do realize that SMG4 has a good, and I mean a very good quality in their content. So in this video, I'll be talking about the history where I first found SMG4 during day 1 and all the way through the present. So this is the low rise and rise of SMG4. And let's begin. And during the time of 2014 was the time where I first using YouTube a lot. Consider the most that YouTube had been a time that I'm not a fan of, but consider the fact that during the time around 2014, I first watching videos that are quite completely random, but consider the videos that I watch are sort of interesting in me. For example, of how SML in their own video during the golden age, it does consider a video that was pretty good during their good times, and especially how the OG video was still good to me to this day. However, there's another channel that I found quite strange to say the least, and that is SMG4 oldest video. Now consider the most that SMG4 does make a good video during their oldest video, but I find it quite strange whenever I find those strange videos when I was that young. And yes, I was that young and I don't really not sure what is SMG4 stands for. And consider the fact that SMG4 was sort of a random or sort of like a strange channel that I consider with Mario with his strange animation, but I'm not that old since I don't know what is Super Mario 64 until I know what it is when I was 10 or 12. But consider the fact that SMG4 with their strange animation and strange background, which is supposed to be Gary's mod, this is like an interesting video that I sort of watch a lot. And not only that I watch even more, I watch a lot more. Especially what kind of characters, the design, the quality, the funds, the puns, the many more. Especially how much this make me quite funny around time whenever I watch SMG4. Especially how random it is and it make me laugh a lot of SMG4. So that's why I really quite enjoy it a little bit. And now it's time for me to talk about the characters. To be honest, the characters are quite random. Consider that most of Mario, who is like the favorite characters of mine, is sort of a completely random character from SMG4. However, consider the fact that SMG4 Mario has sort of a different random moment that make me laugh for no reason. Apparently that with this character, which is SMG4 Mario, I could desire the most that this character is like one of my most favorite of them all. Not until, until someone arrive and this is like a debate, vote, or other things, but I'll talk about that later. But still, SMG4 Mario and his own friends are completely funny. Consider the most that I found this video that much funny, I quite find this series that much interesting to say the least. With the characters that are becoming introducing, like Fishy Boogans and Bobs, are completely like random characters that I'm not sure who they are, but consider the most how funny and how much, noticed by their own different character traits they have. I do enjoy how much I pretty much enjoy characters that are being introduced to. Especially with characters who are original characters later on, who will also be introduced later on, which we all know what we're talking about. And now I call this area the Maggie area. Why I call this the Maggie area? Well, consider the most that she is the first original character. Well, of course that she is an inkling before, but however, during the introduced with many characters that are original like Tari, Psycho, Axel, and many more characters that are becoming much more of an original characters made by the SMG4. Consider the most character that I found interesting of them all is Maggie. The reason why the Maggie I found interesting is that during day one, whenever I find her as sort of a random character that I'm not a fan of. However, considering that she appears in a lot of videos, and especially when having the mode and enjoying the group, as well that she became like a good friend towards Mario. And considering the most important fact that Maggie is this one character that I feel something odd about her. However, I do enjoy this character no matter how strange she was. And consider after the anime arc. She later had changed into a human, which surprised me a lot, which consider the fact that we didn't see any transformation until the other character arrived, but we're talking about that later. Maggie, as we could imagine with her human form, was quite of a shocking moment in SMG4 history, especially that in this area, and Maggie, as we imagine, does change a lot, especially with so much character trait that she had. Does realize me that I do enjoy Maggie a lot, especially how much of a good character she is. She making this series much more good, especially how much Maggie and the other gangs are doing this as a great decent quality just to make SG4 with a lot of fun moments, adventure, and many more. Especially with characters who went through all these things, especially when Maggie who lost her friend Desi, especially that Desi who is supposed to be a rival or an enemy towards Maggie, but later on Desi became a good friend towards Maggie during the anime arc. Sadly that her life was taken away by Francis, we realized that Maggie has a character trait that I was so concerned that she does have sort of a passion heart, especially how much she felt so broken inside of her. And I never imagined that this character had went through all the things of losing a friend that she had saw her death coming down in the ground. Imagine how it feels like with many characters that could eventually remember towards the past, and especially with this one character that I will still remember to this day, Axel. Now, the Genesis arc. The Genesis arc, to be honest, has like a dark series to show how much that this villain known as Zero always happened to be that much of a villain that comes with a total chaos, dark moments, especially how much that this character is overthrown chaotic chaos, especially how much that this character does not have a heart. This thing has only focus on the power, especially how much that he causes many of death, many of memes that he can take over, especially that he literally destroyed a universe after killing one of the avatars from SMG 1 and 2. And after ever since the Genesis arc had became much more of a higher throne of the Dark series, to be honest, I quite find this as a series to be quite of a bizarre moment, especially with a villain with Zero who's supposed to be the first one before SMG 1, 2, 3, and 4. But consider that SMG 0 was that much of a total threat, I could imagine that this character is so evil that I never imagined that he became that much of an evil character in every single SMG 4 character that would. But the most important part in the Genesis arc is that we lost Axel. And of course, Axel, as we all know, had arrived for more than 3 years. He joined around the anime arc, the SNG arc, 3 arc, my bad. He arrived throughout many arcs and series and years that he became a good friend, especially how much that he became a good, close partner towards Melanie. Especially that Melanie, who used to be a water lemon and became a former human god that I consider that Axel has a full crush on. This is something that I really feel is something that I never see before in SMG4. Now, of course, that SMG4 doesn't have no character that doesn't have no relationship or any sort of a canon relationship, considering if Mario and Peach are in their relationship, but that's a toxic relationship, so I don't count that as well. However, consider that Axel and Melanie, who are sort of a closer friending bonding, it's sort of a thing that I never imagined that it could be like if Axel admit to his heart that he actually liked Melanie, do I feel like this could be something that it should have changed? And consider the most part, yeah, it sort of changed. But however, even in the episode that he almost about to admit that he actually liked Melly, he decided to become much of a instead of a relationship by trying to get much closer towards Melody throughout later video. Especially that this is a good character that could tell us that he doesn't want to start right now. He will wait no matter how long before he have the right time. Which to be honest, I do enjoy how much I actually decided to choose the right way and waited for the right time. And for sadly the most, he was that late. Especially how much that Axel, who became much more closer towards Melanie, especially that we have a moment that if Axel could manage to tell the Amit that he loved her, sadly, Zero had took away from Axel goals, especially that Melody has felt so much closer towards Axel that she's starting to get much more bonding towards Axel throughout the Genesis arc. Especially that Melody, as we imagine, has sort of a strange motive that she has a different emotion that none of the characters doesn't have, but even that she has a soft side, she does have a downside that could pose that a moment that she can get aggressive, angry, upset, but the most important of all, she has a heart that comes with Axel. But with the most important part that Melanie does love Axel, especially that Melanie does enjoy Axel throughout their time, it does feel like that becoming closer towards each other, realize that they're getting close to their relationship. Sadly that Zero had took away from Melanie and Axel close to their relationship. I still count this as a good relationship, and even ending the Genesis arc as a sad ending that Axel, as we all know, had never managed to have the chance to go further throughout Melanie, especially how much they can do so much thing throughout their life, but sadly, Melanie had to end Axel in order to save everyone, including all their friends. But after that one kiss, it shown that these two are still love each other no matter how much they had to go separate through ways. And to be honest, I found that SMG4 does make this a passionate, emotional, and adventure that does tear me up, that realize that I feel so much heartful that this series does make this a really much of a great saga that make this a very, very good moment that SMG4 never imagined. And I really feel glad that this film make this a good, decent video that make this a very highlighted dark tone into this amazing series that I never imagined how much they did. And yeah, that's how the Genesis arc does make this a total dark saga that none of us never imagined that SG4 ever did. And now it's time for us to talk about their glitch production. Okay, so to be honest, like glitch production is sort of the series that made by SG4 and his brother. To be honest, it does tells me that glitch production is pretty much is a good production. Consider the fact that they're animated with 3D model that comes with a series known as Meta Runner, Sunset Paradise, and Metadrone. And to be honest, these are the series that I found so interesting in. Well, consider the most that Metadrone had been made by with two partners have partnered up with Glitch Production and another animated channel that I quite forget who he is, but yeah, I show you the picture right here if you know who he is. But still, in other cases, as we imagine, the series that I pretty much enjoy is Meta Runner. To be honest, Meta Runner has this type of series that comes with a lot of tones into it, especially with the characters that we have is Tari and her friend. Consider the most part that we have two different Tari, one Tari from SG4 and this Tari from Meta Runner. I could imagine that this Tari from Meta Runner went through so much things that I never feel imagine that he's trying to find her memories and even trying to not have others trying to use advantage of her. And it does give out a huge motive that this series does give out a bigger adventure that I never imagined that this could be a total series that I do enjoy so far. Especially that I cannot wait for season 3 to to be with, because I really enjoy that this season is getting so stronger, so amazing. I can't wait how season 3 will be like, especially how much the series are making this much more compatible, especially with a new villain that's going to be so much evil, and especially how much smarter and powerful that he could be rather than the old one that who is supposed to be the businessman, but now we have a total genius hacker that could know every Tari move, which is quite very disturbing to say the least. But to other cases, I cannot wait for season 3 to be like. But the most important part that there's other series that we could enjoy, in which is Sunset Fairytale. Considering the part that Maggie is one of my interesting characters, she's becoming sort of my most perfect character because she has a series that does shows that SMG4 and the whole community does enjoy Maggie. And consider the most part that I really enjoy Maggie a lot, especially how much Maggie had went through all her adventure and how much she really did a lot of things for her friends. It's time for her to take a break, but not until that break became an adventure with her and her own new sidekick. I'm sorry, I don't know what your name, but still, you're still awesome to me. And consider the fact that Maggie has becoming that much of a bigger, perfect character, I really enjoy how much that she does give out a greater character trait that some of the characters that does not really show. Especially how the SML character does not really make a good character trait, neither does the newer characters that does not do a very good job since they use those characters as a side joke that none of the people doesn't find funny and also disgusting as well. However, consider the most important fact that Maggie, as we imagined, does give out a good original character, especially that she did a really good job at making this series much more powerful, much stronger, and much more good quality, decent, and how much the fans really enjoy her, especially with the many characters that we do enjoy and love today, and how much that will become a total greatness and even a growth for SMG4 and the company for Glitch Reduction. We imagine that Glitch Reduction could be a bigger high chance that it could reach the total limit to make their animation much stronger, the story much better, and how much I really find how the series and their own studio by animated by their own trade of their decent devices and many more. I could imagine that this could be a perfect future of how glitch rotation will get so much more noticed by many people that doesn't know them but will be noticed a lot when they making it much more stronger as we imagine. Now here's my final conclusion. SMG4 is the best series, best channel, best characters, best story. No matter how much that some of you may disagree on, I still enjoy SMG4. Now, for the matter of fact, SMG4 is a channel that I never even know so much when I was that young. However, today when I'm at my own 16 on my teenage, I could imagine that SMG4 has so much things that I really enjoy, especially how the series was. Compared to the most important part that SMG4 did something good that the other channel couldn't. Well, even though the other channel does do other things that are completely good, but SMG4 is too perfect because of what values or even the growth make it much more noticeable. And heck, even SMG4 has been here for 10 years, especially that they is celebrated for their 10 years anniversary, which is a big moment that I was so shocked that they actually make a very amazing anniversary video, especially that they introduced to a new villain that will make this arc of make this a very darker arc saga series. So that's why I pretty much enjoy how SMG4 are doing their total best to make it, just not for how much viewers or subscribers they have, it's by how much the decent for the quality, their fans, and how much that they can follow by the critics, especially that they can listen what they by the people that tell them, and they can do some bit of changes so they can make it happen. Even though that others that may agree or disagree by what SMG4 sort of has changed nowadays, but I still enjoy the series and I still love how much that this channel make me happy, and I still enjoy that this characters and so much more I enjoy. And I also don't know which one is my favorite because she's a Melanie, and SMG4 Mario. Goodness, I'm not sure which one is my top first favorite because this is too difficult to me to know which one is my favorite. Or is it the king or the queen? I'm not sure. This is too difficult to be honest. So uh, maybe in top tier list in another video I can may talk about it, but that's another time for now. So yeah, that's the whole video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more. And stay tuned for episode 3, and we are talking about the SML versus SMG4, all the way through their channel histories and how much that they have changed throughout their total future videos and many more. And I'll talk to you all next time. Bye.